It don't get no intro. It don't get no intro. It don't get no intro. So he just found out, like, cause he didn't know he was different. He just found out he was different. He ain't never gonna be able to run. He ain't never gonna be able to walk. He ain't never gonna be able to jump. He ain't gonna never be able to play. Well, you get what I mean. The sense of the invincible, as grown-ups people call it, that we cannot have things as we want them to be, but as they are, and that we must learn to bear them and make the best of them. This lesson, which everyone has to learn sooner or late, came at last, sadly soon to the poor boy. He fought against it for a while, and then, quite overcome, turned and sobbed bitterly in his godmother's arms. She comforted him. I do not know, except that love always comforts. And then she whispered to him, in her sweet, strong, cheerful voice, never mind. No, I don't think. I do mind. That is, I won't mind, replied he, catching the courage of her tone, and speaking like a man, though he was still a mere boy. That is right, my prince. That is being like a prince. Now we know exactly where we are. Let us put our shoulders to the wheel, and we are in a hopeless tower. This is its name, if it had a name. And there is no wheel to put on our shoulders to, said the child sadly. You little of matter-of-fact goose. Well for you that you have a godmother called what? He eagerly asked. Stuff and nonsense. Stuff and nonsense? What a funny name. Some people gave it to me, but they are not my most intimate friends. Though these call me, never mind what, added the old woman with a soft twinkle in her eyes. So, as you know me and know me well, you may give me any name you please. It doesn't matter. But I am your godmother, child. I have few godchildren. These I have love me dearly, and find me the greatest blessing in all the world. I can well believe it, cried the little lame prince, and forgot his troubles in looking at her. As her figure dilated, her eyes grew lustrous as stars, her very radiance brightened, and the whole room seemed filled with her beautiful and beneficent presence like light. He could have looked at her forever, half in love, half in awe, but she suddenly dawdled down into the little old woman, all in gray, and with a immaculate twinkle in her eye, asked for the traveling cloak. Bring it out of the rubberish cupboard and shake the dust off of it quick, she said to the prince. Darla, who hung his head, rather ashamed, you better be ashamed, boy, spread it out on the floor and wait till the slit closes and the edges turned up like a rim all round. Then go and open the skylight. Mind, I say open the skylight. Set yourself down in the middle of it like a frog on a water lily leaf and say abracadabra, dum dum dum, and see what will happen. The prince burst into a fit of laughing. It all seemed so exceedingly silly. He wondered what a wise old woman like his godmother should talk such nonsense. Such a nonsense, you mean, she said, answering to his greatest alarm, his unspoken thoughts. Did I not tell you some people called me by that name? Never mind, it doesn't harm me. And she laughed, her merry laugh, as childlike as if she were the prince's age instead of her own, whatever that might be. She certainly was a most extraordinary old woman. Believe me or not, it doesn't matter, she said. Here was the cloak. When you need to go, traveling on it, say abracadabra, dum dum dum. When you want to come back, say abracadabra, tum tum tea. That's all. Goodbye. A puff of her most excellent air passing by him, making him feel for the moment quite strong and well, for was all the prince was conscious of. His most extraordinary godmother was gone. Really now, how rosy your Royal Highness' cheeks had grown. You seem to have got well already, said the nurse, entering the room. I think I have, replied the prince, very gently. He felt gentle and kind, even to his grim nurse. And now let me have my dinner, and go to your sewing as usual. The instant she was gone, however, taking with her the plates and dishes, which for the first time since his illness he had satisfactorily cleared, Prince Dollar hopped down from his sofa, and with one or two of his frog-like jumps, reached the cupboard where he kept his toys, and looked everywhere for his wandering traveling cloak. Alas, it was not there. While he was ill of the doldrums, his nurse, thinking it was a good opportunity for putting things to right, had made a grand clearance of all his rubbish, as she considered it. His beloved headless horses, broken carts, sheep without feet, and birds without wings, all the treasures of his baby days, which she could not bear to part with, were gone. Though he seldom played with them now, he liked just to feel they were there. They were all gone, and with them the traveling cloak. He sat down on the floor, looking at the empty shelves, so beautifully clean and tidy, then burst out sobbing, as if his heart would break. But quietly, always quietly. He never let his nurse hear him cry. She only laughed at him, as he felt she would laugh now. And it is all my own fault, he cried. I ought to have taken better care of my godmother's gift. Oh, godmother, forgive me. I'll never be so careless again. I don't know what the cloak is exactly, but I'm sure it's something precious. Help me find it again. Oh, don't let it be stolen from me. Don't, please. Ha 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 ha, laughed a silvery voice. Why, that carving cloak is the only thing in the world which no one can steal. It is of no use to anyone except the owner. Open your eyes, my prince, and see what you shall see. His dear old grandmother, he thought, and turned eagerly around. But no, he beheld, lying in a corner of the room, all dust and cobwebs, his precious traveling cloak. Prince Dollar darted, tumbling several times on the way, as he often did tumble, poor boy, and picked himself up again, never complaining. Snatching it to his breast, he hugged and kissed it, cobwebs and all, as if it had been something alive. Then he began rolling it, wondering each minute what would happen. What did happen was so curious that I must leave it for another chapter. Ah! Y'all like that? Y'all like, girl, you did that. I know. Spit it in a, ooh, ooh. Spit it in a, ooh, ooh. Okay, I'm done, y'all. Oh, why do I keep taking this off? What do you want? What do you want from me? What do you want from me? Want to make $1 million? Can't you see you gonna meet? No. You can't make no money. No. You ain't got no change. No. You gotta be, it's a way to live your life without being so long. It's a way to live your life without being so long. And when you come around, I'll be there. And when no one else, and when everyone leaves, I'll still be there. 'Cause I'm like a rose in the sky, traveling through miles and miles, trying to get back to you. Can't you see that I am all you need? It's no wonder there's no butterflies in the sky at night around me. Does it feel like I'm singing the Annie song without the Annie words? Probably does. Boom, 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 boom. What they do, boom. Where they go, boom. Why they do that, boom. What they say, boom. If they got it, boom. How they want it, boom. Why they do that, boom. They gonna say you crazy, boom. Is you listening in, boom. Is you not, boom. Is you doing what you want, boom. Is your mind on that money, boom. I be wondering, boom. You be nosy, boom. It's a lot going on in this video, boom. I'm a rapper now. It's a thing on YouTube. I make a couple videos and now I feel like I can go. I can make a record. I can sing 1,000 songs. I got 1,000 bars. 1,000 bars. I don't think I'm gonna finish this in time. It's like, Taquise, why is it taking so long? Because it takes me too long to do my damn hair. That's what it be. It just takes me too damn long. Too long. I've been standing here waiting for you to come back to me for too long. And I know I should let go and give up on you and me, making it do. But how can I let it go when I know we're meant to be together? All you need to do is hit that subscribe button so that I know the notification so you can be with me forever. So we were meant to be together. Don't you believe in me? Didn't you see in me? Didn't you see yourself in me? Then I come to you within a dream. Tell you what, leave your comment down below. Tell you why, when you leave your comment down below. I'll be sure to answer when you come my way. If I make it worth your time, don't feel like it's been wasted. Even though I'm not that interesting, I'm the one for you. Give me all your time indeed. Watch me from hours upon hours. If you just believe, I'm being rapper. I'ma drop this mic. I'ma buy your mic just to drop that mic. You gon' hit the dance. We gon' sing a song. It's gonna be alright. And I get copyrighted for doing my own hair. Vigalo, vigalo, vigalo. I did not do that right. 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 I know it's gonna be a third video, right? I know it's gonna be a third video, right? I just hope you know. I just hope you know. Just with this hour, that will. I'm gonna do this one. Oh, just because I don't know. It feels. No, I'm not. I'm not gonna do it just because I don't know. I'm just gonna let it be. I'm just gonna let it be. I'm just gonna let it be. I got enough time to do tomorrow. I'm just gonna let it be. I'm just gonna let it be. Oh, I gotta go back and fix that. You know what? I didn't even give that a description. I just posted it. I'm gonna go back and fix it. I got time. Well, no, I don't got time. Something tells me people don't really be reading descriptions. But then I don't think I've really been adding descriptions to my yeah, I did. On my last video, I added descriptions, and y'all didn't even read them. So now I didn't read the description. I just be clicking. Like, oh, that sounds good. I'm clicking. Oh, this part 7. I'm still gonna click part 7. You won't be looking for part 1, part 5, part 6. I'm almost done. But I got one more video. Like I said, I got one more video to do. I gotta go give my shit some damn words. But let me finish the sisterhood to BlackBerry corner. If you still here, I am so happy and I thank you. I'm gonna do this in my third video, don't worry. For this afternoon videos, I'll be looking tight, looking right. Okay. The Pertwell's County Home for Children rested in an own farmhouse on top of Lordine Hill, 16 miles north of Caden Creek. Bonnie had only passed the Froling dwelling a couple of times. Ooh, yep. Okay. And once she had actually stopped by when the ladies of the Blessed Harvest had delivered donated clothes around the holidays. She never actually gone inside. Tilly Monroe insisted on quickly dropping off the gifts, and the woman swooped in like Santa Claus with a box of good cheer while Bonnie and Miss Idle had waited outside. Over the years, it seemed like no improvements had been made to the house. Shingles on the roof had come loose, and the tall, spindly beams were covered in chipped green paint. Weeds and dead grass jutted from the crawl space. The porch had a visible dip in the center, where a woman sat in a rocker reading the paper. About a half dozen kids played on a tire swing in a small wooden jungle gym in the front yard. Bonnie pulled her sweater around her shoulders, and made her way up the bush-lined path. The woman on the porch laid her paper in her lap. Auntie, a dark brown boy of about 9, dashed across the yard and grabbed one of Bonnie's hands. He had a shiny, long hair that brushed his cheek. Hi, Auntie, a little girl with a chipped tooth and knobby knees tugged at her skirt. Soon all the kitchen children were clamoring about her, excitedly touching her clothes and gripping her hands like a relative they hadn't seen in months. None appeared older than 10, and their clothes were ill-fitting but appeared to be clean. Two little girls began to fight as they both tried to hug Bonnie around the waist. The big woman leaned forward in her chair. Wanda, she called, y'all stop that mess. The smaller of the two girls scattered up from the dusty ground. The other lay there crying. Get up, Molly, the woman went on. Get up and get on your way. The woman heaved herself up from the chair. She was as large a woman as Bonnie had ever seen. Her bright yellow house dress had to be especially made, and the wooden chair that she sat in looked to be reinforced under each armrest with an extra 2x4. As Bonnie approached, the woman smiled warmly. On her face, the color of chestnuts appeared open and friendly. You go in and about your business, the woman said, trying to scatter the kids. I want to talk to Auntie, a boy said, refusing to release Auntie's hand. Me too, one of the taller girls yelled. Ain't nobody got no oxtails if you don't take your little asses on the way from here, the woman scolded. The children reluctantly returned to the yard. Love themselves some oxtails, the big woman said, especially the way Grandma make them. She trotted down the first step. The wood groaned. I'm Connie Blanton, she said, offering her hand. How do, Bonnie returned. She looked back at the kids, now waving from the yard. Who in the world do they think I am? Bonnie asked the woman. A nice lady, Connie said. Any nice lady. Connie Blanton led Bonnie to one of the wooden chairs on the porch. A thin red cushion actually made the slippery seat comfortable. Can I get you something, Auntie? Connie asked. Bonnie looked curiously at the woman's huge dark face. Deep dimples in both cheeks gave her a look of curiosity and seniority. I'm fine, Bonnie replied, and my name is Bonnie Wilder. Connie plucked her newspaper from her chair. Without hurrying, she folded it, then settled into the rocker again. Her bare feet looked almost white from the ash, and though she appeared no older than 40, her ankles were as fat as her calves. They calls me Big Mama, she said. And Eddie Grace, she said, the woman who runs the place with me. They call us a Little Mama. They also call her Spot sometimes. Connie laughed heartily. That's a whole nother story, Miss Thompson, Connie went on. She do the cooking for the kids, and they call her Grandmama. And Sarah Mae, she teaches the kids their lessons. They call her Sister Mama. And whosoever happen to come this way. And believe me when I tell you, baby, Connie said, shaking her head. There ain't many folks wander our way. Well, the kids call them Auntie, sometimes Uncle. I see. We like to treat folks like family, Connie explained. The Little Mama started that years ago. She's figured if you treat folks like family, they can't stay away too long. What about their parents, Bonnie said. I mean, what do they call them? Call them gone, Connie said simply. She sat back and simply silently rocked. Surprisingly, her chair swayed without a single sound. What can we do for you, Auntie? Bonnie placed her handbag flat on her lap. She wasn't sure what she asked here at the country home, or whether they'll take her. I have a child, she started, and I might need to put him in for adoption. Damn, you just put that kid up for adoption. He a natural child? Bonnie tucked her lips together. She didn't expect Connie Blanton to be so direct so soon. And Bonnie knew that if she told the truth, there would be many other questions. Yes, she replied. And why would a nice lady like you give up this child? Circumstances. She could feel Connie's eyes sweep over her crisp linen dress and brown shoes with a matching purse. She could feel Connie asking her mind, what circumstances? But the woman only said, I suppose that's what brings most of these children to us. Ma'am, Circumstances, she said. All at once, Connie lifted herself out the chair. With the quickness of a woman half her size, she bounded down the stairs. Henry, she shouted, don't you stand on that chair back like that. What in the world's wrong with you? The boy with long hair threw a handful of dirt at the tall, worky boy with dusty brown hair. Connie yelled, don't let me tell little mama that you out here making trouble. Bonnie glanced at the property. She could tell that it had once been a working farm. A kitchen coop with tangled wires was now barren as a small hog pens across from it. Bonnie spied a garden with several patches of collard greens and tiny green squash. She felt relieved to see vegetables growing, and all of this room, their presence hidden their life. Connie made her way back to her chair. Before she sat, she took a packet of chewing tobacco from the pocket of her house dress. Then she settled in again, leaning her thick arms across on the rest. May I ask you how many children live here, Bonnie asked? We got 10 now. 12 is capitalization. Oh my goodness. Do you get a lot of babies, Bonnie asked? Hardly never. Mostly other kids, Connie replied. Rainey, she said, pointing to a small girl of about 8. She's the youngest child we got. Come to us at 2 years old. And she's still here? Bonnie couldn't have the shock and sadness in her voice. Connie shrugged her heavy shoulders. That child got some mental problems. And families around here are mostly poor, she explained. Can't afford to help the kids they got already. So they ain't much adopting going on around these parts. I see, Bonnie said. Don't mean to piss on a picnic, but you know I can't abide raising nobody else's shit. You know that. Me and little mama Connie went on. We do what we can. Connie pulled the foil wrapper down the sides of a chunk of tobacco. But the country cut back on our funds like you wouldn't believe. Sometimes I think they forgot us altogether. One of the little girls ventured toward the porch. It was the child who had been on Bonnie's skirt. 2 frizzy red braids looked odd against her dark face. When she smiled, she was missing her 2 front teeth. She slowly eased toward Bonnie to sit on her lap. Lucinda, Connie said, you know you ain't supposed to be up here where grown folks is talking. I just come to say hi, she said. Get on your way, little girl. She scooted down the steps. We better go in the house, Auntie, Connie said, standing. Them kids drive you crazy in a minute or two. Connie opened the screen door, and Bonnie followed her into the house. It smelled like chicken soup, mixed with the royal scent of cut green grass and a tingle of backwoods skunk. Connie slipped into a pair of green loafers that sat by the door. She proceeded to what would be the living room in most houses. Dim and stark, the room surprisingly had a fairly new black sofa. It was surrounded by a dozen or so aluminum chairs scattered throughout. Oh, that's why. A one wooden chair sat by the window. Bits and pieces of toys were stacked in a slippery chest pushed off to the side. And on an old TV sat in the corner of the room. That's you, baby, a woman's voice called. Company come, Connie yelled back. Company? What kind of company? That be Etta Grace, Connie explained to Bonnie. She helped Grandma with dinner. She be alone directly. Bonnie nodded. Have a seat, Connie said. Connie was about to sit in a wooden chair by the window. That'll be my chair, Auntie, Connie said. Ain't no offense, but you could sooner take any old seat. That one made for Big Mama, if you know what I mean. Bonnie could see that like the rock on the front porch, this chair was a bit larger and also reinforced. And Connie didn't seem a slightly bit embarrassed. She sat down to lift the dusty rose drape away from the window and peered out at the children. Bonnie sat on the couch. Where do the children sleep, Bonnie asked. In the back, Connie answered. Just then, a short, weary woman hurried in from the kitchen. She was as brown as Bonnie, but splashes of lighter skin stained her face and neck to the very top of her pink blouse. Well then, if we don't have ourselves a visitor, she says, smoothing down her apron. I'm Eddie Grace's guy, she said, extending her hand. Her grip was strong and firm. So glad she came to visit, Auntie. Bonnie nodded politely. She understood why the kids sometimes called Eddie Grace's spot. I guess you and Connie already started talking. Eddie Grace went through the room, pushing the chairs neatly against the wall. She got a child, Connie said. Near as I could tell, a baby boy. That's as far as we get. As I mentioned to Miss Blankton, Bonnie quickly put in, I'm considering. I mean to say that I might want to. How old? Eddie Grace asked. About 2 months. Eddie Grace nodded. When children do get adopted from us, it's usually the boys. Why? Farmers just need boys to help out on the land, Eddie Grace explained. I guess boys pay off a little better than girls. Gas. She want to see where the children sleep, Connie said. Eddie Grace placed a few toys on top of the chest, then gestured for Bonnie to follow. Connie stayed seated, looking out the window. Bonnie trailed Eddie Grace through the house. From the outside, the place looked much smaller than it actually was. They walked down the hall, its wall painted a pea green, with about half a dozen closed doors. Eddie Grace opened the first door to a room with 6 identical cot-style beds. Their bed, pink blankets were folded on top of each. Bonnie stepped into the doorway and noticed a top cuff of stained white sheets neatly folded beneath each blanket. Okay, she gotta get blankets. This is where the girls sleep. Eddie Grace rocked ahead and opened the next door as Bonnie followed her. This space has fewer beds. Each was topped with an old blue blanket. Boys sleep here. Girls and boys sleep so close together, Bonnie said. Most times we don't have no troubles, but I can't say it ain't never happened. Just natural girls and boys, ain't it? I suppose, Bonnie said. She followed Eddie Grace to the next door. This is where Grandma and Sister sleep, Eddie Grace said, opening the door. Inside, Bonnie spied 2 full-size beds. And that's where me and Connie sleep, she said, opening the door to the next room. Bonnie knows only 1 king-size bed. She paused for a moment. Bonnie suddenly recalled that Tilly had referred to the country home woman as a bit particular. Wow. Down here, Eddie Grace said, pointing, is where the kids do their lesson. Bonnie was still taken aback by the sight of 1 bed. She knew that Eddie Grace's guide could sense her apprehension, yet the small woman continued as if she allowed Bonnie to make her own opinions, as everyone else surely had. This last room is the nursery, Eddie Grace said, snapping Bonnie out of her thoughts. She opened the door. The small room with yellow paint on the walls contained only 1 wooden crib. It looked as lonely as everything else in a part-world county home. Bonnie pictured Wyan sleeping in that room, so alone, so bare, and the thought horrified her. I ain't gonna lie to you, Auntie, Eddie Grace said as they walked back into the living room. An adoption is a rare happening. When was the last, Bonnie asked. 3, maybe 4 years ago. Yes, folks is poor, but also adoption is so much paper, so many questions, so much time. At least the kids seem happy, Bonnie said, trying to find a silver lining. They are happy, Eddie Grace said. But these kids often come from bad situations, so just about anything after their homes will make them happy. That little girl, Lucinda, Eddie Grace went on, Lord my God, but the child probably know more about serving a man at 9 years old than you and me both. Bonnie didn't want to hear this. And the boy Henry, she said, you wouldn't want to know what his mama put that poor child through. No, I wouldn't, Bonnie whispered. Where did the last stop, Auntie? Connie added. That woman who put her child in the creek? Yes, Bonnie said. Is she anything like some of the parents we done seen? Connie went on. I expect she did that child a favor. Bonnie gripped her purse until her hand felt numb. She wanted to run out of here, but of course she couldn't. Though one thing was clear, she could never bring Wyan here. Her feelings had little to do with the dilated house, or even where Eddie Grace and Connie chose to sleep. It was emptiness, desperation. It was knowing that Wyan could possibly be here until it was time for him to go off into the world as a man. There was love here. But how much could these women give to 10 or 12 kids? Some who were so damaged that they surely took up most of the afternoon. And what about these kids? Will they in turn infect Wyan with a darker knowledge of life at such young age? Thank you for so much for your time, Miss Blankton, Bonnie said, heading for the door. When will you bring the child, Connie asked. I'm still thinking things through, Bonnie said. Just give us a call, Connie said. Party line 3? I will, Bonnie said, hurrying out. Love to have you stay for dinner, Eddie Grace offered. Thank you, ma'am, no. Bonnie trotted down the steps and started up the path. The kids followed her. Again, they grabbed both her hands and 2 others yanked at her skirts. Y'all go on back and play, Eddie Grace yelled. Bonnie got to her car and slipped in. She had to separate small fingers from her forearm before she closed the door. Bye, Auntie, the kids called. You coming back? You got any kids? Bonnie was so choked up that she couldn't respond. She looked back at the porch of the house. Eddie Grace had gone back inside, and Connie had returned to her rocker. You kids move away from the car, Connie called as Bonnie pulled off. When she looked back, she saw them thin brown legs in a fog of red dust. A dozen fluttering palms. 6 kids waiting. Oh.